Thank you, everyone who's in attendance. We're going to now do our agenda meeting for the March 21st Board of Directors meeting. So, board members, if you will look at that agenda, it's a separate document that you got. Does everyone have it? We have items 1 through 5 on our proposed consent agenda. If you would take a look at that, please, and let me know if you have any questions on any of these items. Vice Mayor Webb, you're recognized, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and it's not on items 1 through 5. I have something that I wanted to add to the agenda and pass out at the appropriate time.
All right, go ahead. We can go ahead and take care of that now while people are looking at the other items.
Okay. I think the directors have already seen this. I think Mr. Carpenter sent it out. And it is a greatly revamped resolution from Director Peck and me to. It's a revamped resolution from one that was discussed or that we had drafted several weeks ago about the Little Rock School District. And it's simply a request that the Little Rock School District and the Department of Education do an impact study. Just a request to add this to the agenda.
Director Adcock, you're recognized.
Yes, can we add a moratorium on this of them selling those 2 schools before this study is complete?
Say that again.
Can we put a moratorium on the city, Little Rock School District, of selling those 2 schools before this study is complete?
Well, I'll let Mr. Carpenter answer that. I'm not.
We can make a request, but we don't own the property, so that would be up to the school district. Yes, ma'am. We can make a request about a moratorium on the selling of any schools within the district, but that's all we can do because we don't own the property.
Kathy, do you want an amendment to this to include that?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's legislation that's currently pending. It's passed the House subcommittee. It's going to the full House. And so if that legislation were to pass, it would negate anything that we did. We could amend this at the meeting 2 weeks from tonight. So what I would really rather do is wait and see what happens with that legislation before we amend that, if that's okay with Director Peck.
Well, I can support this if it has that in it, because I think it's important that we try to save particularly Franklin. And
I don't disagree about that, but I just think with the legislation pending that I'm reluctant to tell the legislature something that we might like to see happen that could spur them to do something different.
Well, this is SB 308, which this is Senate Bill 308, Director Adcock, which came out of the House Education Committee, as has already been through the Senate. I suspect that within 2 weeks it'll be before the full House, and unless it's amended and sent back to the Senate for some other amendment, which I don't expect that to happen, that matter will probably be disposed of one way or the other before we reach a vote on this issue. So, okay, Director Hendricks, do you have a comment or question on items 1 through 5?
For Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore, could you tell me if you did bids on this tree cutting?
Item 3?
We did. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Director Wright, you're recognized, please.
Yes, I have a question for Directors Peck and Vice Mayor Webb.
you all both contacted me about this, and I thought I had agreed to support it and be a signature on here. Is there some particular reason my name was left off?
I don't think I got an answer from you.
Yeah, you got an answer.
Director Wright, I knew the three names that were on there. I haven't heard any other names. I'll get that on there. It's a sponsor.
I mean, if there's a particular reason you don't want me on there, that'd
No.
be fine.
That's,
But I got the emails, and I received quite a few emails from you all about this. So when I first heard from Tom, I said, well, surely, that's a mistake. So
it is. It's my mistake, and I'll get that on there.
it's not, but we'll let you take the fall.
All right, hearing none, no questions on items 1 through 5. Let's move on to item 6 then, planning and development. Is there any question about that item? Hearing none, we can move on to 7 and 8. One's a contract recommendation, and the other one is a demolition ordinance. Thank you, Scott, for identifying these houses for us. If you'll draw your attention to the screen, I think there are 6 houses on this particular ordinance. We got a bunch of homeless people in there. Okay, Director Hendricks, did you have a comment on this?
I want to back up to 3 and ask Mr. Moore, would you provide me with the applicants that made bids on these trees and the race?
Okay, we can now move on to items 9 and 10, our presentations. Mr. Moore, are we going to hear on our November 16 financial report? Okay. And
Mayor,
We're gonna wait on our legislative.
on both of the items? All right.
Mayor, I wanted to mention to the board, we're trying to finalize a number of small cell tower franchise ordinances and a master lease. And if it can be done in time, then we would like to have that on the agenda for the March 21 meeting. I've met with one of the companies, I've got a draft with one of the companies, and I've got a telephone conference with one of them in the next day or two. So I'm hopefully we'll be able to get a final product out.
All right. On item 11, you notice we were intending on trying to get the continuation of our city attorney evaluation done for the 21st, but I understand we're going to have 2 board members out on the 21st. And so we're going to move that to when I can get everybody hopefully here. So we'll look at the next meeting. We can do this on an agenda meeting if we just need to have a special.
I'm out of the country on the 28th.
I have a question.
All right, so
I mean, I guess you could do it without me, but I'd kind of like to be there.
You're not that lucky. You're not that lucky. All right, well, we'll try and find a date when we can get that taken care of.
May I have a question?
I'm gonna recognize you in just a second, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, Director Hendricks.
I'm concerned, there's a majority of the board members here. I don't understand this game plan stuff we go through. You say, for instance, if either one of us had to be interviewed and you just keep putting it off, I don't think that's fair to the applicant. Now, I know y'all in a majority, but you're gonna hear what I got to say. And I say it's a majority of us here, and we should do the carpenter. Other than that, do what you want to do. That's the reason why I asked Tom to do what he did for me. Doesn't make sense.
Very
I'll
good.
tell y'all
Director
about it.
Director Hines, you're recognized, please.
Tom, quick question. We have a document here from a Edward Adcock that's attorney for Mr. Scrabble. What is our advice and how are we dealing with his, or is he officially appealing? Is that what I'm reading?
Director Hines, a decision was made by the city manager not to lift the current ban on Mr. Scrabble for a period of 1 year. He has appealed that decision to the Board of Directors, which he is allowed to do. The board, I think,
We
go ahead, Mayor.
We discussed this in my mayor's policy meeting today. Since we can't get everyone here, I was going to suggest that once you have a chance to read through it, if any board member wishes to have this brought before this board for some sort of a motion to change the city manager's position on this, then we'll go ahead and set it on an agenda. If I don't hear anything, then I'm going to go ahead and I'll assume that by virtue of silence, there is no move to want to do anything different than what the manager's administrative directive is as it relates to this matter. Is that satisfactory with everyone?
That is.
Let me give you, is it fair? I'm going to give you all a good full week to let me know that. Pardon? The city manager has expressed his concern over the issues of threats and safety of Mr. Scrabble. He does not think that those have been alleviated, and so the ban of Mr. Scrabble coming to city board meetings or to city buildings continues in effect. And the process, there was a process for appeal, which means the board can change that administrative directive. And that is before you now in the letter that was written by Mr. Ed Adcock to all of us, requesting that the board allow Mr. Scrabble the opportunity to make appearances and before the board and to come into certain buildings or community centers as the case may be. I want to deal with the issue timely, and since we've got people out, I think Bruce is going to be out and Tom is going to be out, we felt that the best procedure would be is that if there is a board member who wishes to make a motion to change that directive and that the boards consider that, then we'll go ahead and set it for one of our meetings. So I'm going to give everybody until next Thursday to let me know whether they wish to have this brought to the board's attention for some sort of a motion. If I don't hear anything, then I'm going to indicate that the board is effectively supporting the city manager in that and is denying Mr. Scrabble's request. Everybody clear on that? Very good. Okay. It's 8:25. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
We will not be in session next Tuesday.
Right.